Hello, hello. Um, I am pretty sure this is not going to be a popular live stream, but I have been really struggling with getting my videos out and getting the channel off the ground. So,
Your light sucks. Your lighting sucks. I don't know where your. Oh, I see your tower. What's it pushing? The button's on top?
no.
Why is it beeping? Put your cord out of the way. Keep your cord from going in.
Okay, I'm live.
You're not live.
Yes, I am.
I don't know why you went live.
I had it.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have it. She does not have it.
Is that better? Yeah, that's better.
I'm on the wrong side of the screen.
Because it's a webcam. So it's showing this way. Okay. Try this one more time. Can't get rid of it because it's live. All right. Oh, let's see here. Okay, I'm going to recenter myself so we can do this. So, my name is Erica, and I own a company, By Herself Media. And I started a YouTube channel. I actually posted the first thing to it 4 years ago, which was a video, which was basically a PowerPoint presentation about publishing with confidence. It was supposed to be a free webinar for services that I was providing at the time to authors. And while that was certainly something that it took me a long time to come up with, and I really liked it, I did not get a lot of views on it. And I started doing other things, and my business changed and evolved. And I decided to pick back up with videos. So I restarted about a month, maybe a little bit more ago, with YouTube. And I started with a few shorts showing my journals that I make and different things like that, and a couple long videos. So the long videos that I started with was there was a day in the life where I was packing an order for my website. There was a shorter long form video that was packing my first Shopify order to my website. I also did a video showing me doing some product photography for the website. And I was off to an okay start. And then life just kept happening. So the first thing that happened, my phone, which I usually film on this phone, that's my lovely little baby on there, and it was full. So I have a whole video ready to go of me showing my journaling ecosystem, and I cannot get it out of YouTube Create. So I decided that since I don't have any space on my phone, I'm running out of space on this computer. And I have done lives before. I did the 75 live challenge for, uh, it was for Hope Writers, and it was to go live for at least 10 minutes every day for the first 75 days of the year. I did that challenge. I succeeded. I went live on Facebook every single day, and I've lost all of those videos. I have one of the recordings, maybe two of the recordings that I put on my podcast So those are still available, but the rest are gone. And so I don't have that content to just move here. I also have the excuse that I don't have my office anymore. I had a baby in February of last year, so she's almost 1, and she has my old office as her nursery. And even though she doesn't sleep in there very often, she has my office. So I have had to move my office into our laundry room. So, yes, that is a washer dryer situation you see behind me, and mops by our sink. That's down here in the laundry room. I have this desk and another desk over here, and some storage over there. So I am fully set up, not quite functional yet. We still have a bunch of stuff still here and in this other room to the side of me that needs to be put away for me to have a nice functional office. And so I have all of these things that have been keeping me from filming, that have been keeping me from putting out videos, and I don't want to do that anymore. And so that's why I decided to go ahead and start with a live stream and do something a little bit different. So I don't know if this will save. Hopefully it will, so it can be a video that lives on my channel. But I wanted to come on and do some of the things that are in my little idea book to do for my channel. And the first thing that I came across was I had written down that I wanted to do a small business newbie tag and a booktube tag, since my channel is kind of a blend of those two things. So I'm going to turn to the questions and do that on here live. And hopefully maybe somebody will join me. And if not, then I'll have this video, hopefully, that I can put up on my channel for content for this week. And then once I get new storage, I'll be able to put up my other videos. Okay, so I have found the small biz newbie tag in my notebook. So let's do some of that. So the name of my small business is By Her Shelf Media. The products or services that I offer, I sell mostly handmade journals and bookish accessories. So I have some examples here of some of the stuff because I created another video that I also can't export that has some of the products that I have and some of the story of my business. So hopefully you'll see the complete thing then. But I create things like these packages of bookmarks. I'm going to try to hold it where you can see it without too much glare. Probably going to have to take it out of the packaging. There we go. This is a set of bookmarks that are boba themed. I have a friend that has a boba shop, and I created these with her shop in mind. But she also has some that are exclusive to her shop that are not these. Okay, so let's see if this is better with the glare. I'm trying to figure out where exactly my camera is. Okay, so that is upside down. This one says, give me boba and a book, then leave me alone. This one has some different little boba characters. I have some that are my own creation of different things, including, let's see if this one will show. Okay. So this particular design is, let me see if I can adjust the lighting a little bit, if that will help. Let me turn it off for this part. Oh, that's really dark, but less glare. So this Mochas and Murder is a reading journal that I created that is for fans of suspense, thrillers, mysteries, horror, anything that might have murder in it, and that are also into drinks such as mochas or different coffees. So these are my lit pairings. So it's a usually a coffee type beverage with a genre or category of books. So there's mochas and murder, there's lattes and love stories, and there's coffee and classics, as well as some others in that collection. So I create bookmarks like this, as well as reading journals, line journals, dotted journals, and they come in a couple different types. So this one is what's known as saddle stitch. So it is stapled on the binding on this side. And this one is made from a cover that is not an original one of mine. I didn't design this, but these were what I started with. So there's an example of that. And then I have a smaller, or no, let me show you this. This is an example of one of the saddle stitch ones that are stapled on the side that I created the cover. So this is Coffee and Classics, which I just talked about, one of the lit pairings. And it is a reading journal. So I'll show you some of the reading journal kind of pages in there. And this one, you can do up to 30 book reviews. It has a reading challenge. It has space for you to do your TBR, either written or visual. You can print off little cover images and put them in here. It has superlatives, snapshots, current reading life, checking in, all that for readers. And I also have some like prayer journal type things. This is the other size. It's a hardcover. I do make these hardcovers myself. What happened here? I don't know what happened to that guy. I probably won't be selling this one, but this is a hardcover. I designed. It is Mama Bear prayers, and all of mine have a signing page, whether it's over here or the first page of the journals. This one has a little note at the beginning. It has different setups for writing down prayers in it. And this is a size that I offer lined journals, reading journals, these prayer journals, and some other ones that are coming. I also have a smaller hardcover size. And this is from my Gentle Reminders collection that just have little sayings on them with images that are designed to bring to mind and remind you of something that might be beneficial to know. So this one says mix it up, and it is a matcha theme. I love this matcha theme. I don't even drink matcha. I don't drink any caffeine. So I don't even like the actual beverage, but I love this imagery. It's so pretty. And you can see the difference in the size. This is more like a pocket size. So there's the difference in sizes. I also sell an 8x10. I do not have one right next to me, but I can show that later. And I just created for a client, because I also do custom work as well, a college workbook that is 8.5 by 11, which is like standard size of a printer sheet of paper. And that came out really, really well. I like how it looked, and I want to offer more of that size option, especially for students, college students, high school students, or any students. I also have offered interior that is for like a primary student who is learning to write. So the one that has the dotted line in the middle so that they can make their capitals and lowercase and all of that. So I do have one of those. I created it for one of my little cousins, and she loves it and wants to know how to make journals herself. And that made me really happy. So I also offer that customization as well. And I'm working on some other things. I also, as I said, do some custom things. So the custom work that I've done is mainly editing and printing. I offer different covers, customized. I am not an artist, I don't draw, so I don't offer that. But there is a level of customization, like you can add in someone's name or have a specific kind of imagery on your cover, or have different pages to the interior instead of all just lined or reading journal or something. You can combine things. So I offer customizations for the journals. I offer editing services very sparingly, as well as some other things like that. I also have a podcast that's a bookish podcast. It's called By Her Shelf. And a lot of times I interview readers or authors about the books that make them who they are. That's the um, conceit or the driving force behind By Her Shelf Media is that while you might not be able to judge a book by its cover accurately, you can judge a reader by his or her shelf. So that's why it's By Her Shelf. It's getting to know people based on the things that they love to read, like what interests them as far as reading goes. And it is about literacy and legacy. So, creating a legacy of literacy would be perfect. I was a teacher for a while. I taught sixth grade language arts, which English reading has always had my heart, but the school setting didn't really work for me. I was very disenchanted with a lot of things. And so I don't do that anymore. I have been working well outside of the field that I have my degree in, which is English, and helping with a handyman business for my husband, and reading and writing about reading, having these kinds of services is my outlet for what I actually have wanted to do since I was a kid and what I went to school for. So it's a little bit about what services that I offer. Um, do I make things myself? Yes. I make everything myself. I do not use AI or AI generated images. I don't use AI to edit anything or to come up with anything. I really just think about things for a very long time and come up with them myself. So, yes, I make everything by hand as far as the bookmarks, the notebooks that I've shown you, everything I've shown you, I've cut out. Most of it I've designed and printed and cut out and assembled by myself. Every now and then, my husband, who you saw earlier, will help with things, but it's mostly just me. And I'm going to turn my light back on. I do not like the blue one. That's not bad. So, yeah, I make things myself. My biggest challenges and wins. So, biggest challenge is time at the moment. As I said, I work in my husband's handyman business. I have a almost 1-year-old daughter. I do take on some custom work. So having time to actually write, to journal, to come up with my ideas and actually come up with a plan to execute and come out with launches and things has been one of my biggest challenges. Another is visibility marketing. I'm not a good marketer, which is ironic. One of my brothers went to school for marketing. He's always marketing something. Like every time they put him in charge of that sort of thing at any job he's had, he excels. My father has a degree in marketing and is very good at marketing, and it completely just like missed me. It did not hit me at all. I have no marketing. And when I do try things at work, sometimes I get in the way of my own success. I'll have something that is a little bit successful, and then I somehow drop the ball. And I'm sure that'll come up at some point on this channel. But those are some of the challenges that I'm working through. Some of my biggest wins. So let me see if I can grab this. Just 1 second. Okay. So, one of my biggest wins, I have to say, would be this journal right here. And this is actually the 8x10 size. This journal is my Straighten My Crown design. This has consistently sold at every market that I've ever had. People love this design, and it was one of my early successes. So this is a big win for me, this design, and I've had it in this size, in the hardcover size. No matter what I put it in, I sell this consistently. And so this is one of my biggest wins. Another one is a reading journal that I did not mention here yet, and that is my Black Women Are Lit reading journal. This reading journal is one of the first that I created with inserts. And so it has listings of 10 different categories, which are listed here on the back, of different kinds of literature. So like autobiographical or romantic, YA, faith-based, sci-fi, fantasy, all those different genres. It has different lists inside of this reading journal of books by Black women in those categories as an additional item in here. So I'll show you one. So this one says Black women are intellectual lit. So this is any sort of fiction that is in the intellectual space, like academic literature. And here, kind of hard to see, is a list of some suggested titles. Some of these are books that I read in school for my English degree. Some of them are other types of books that fit into this category. So like one of them, Playing in the Dark, Whiteness and the Literary Imagination by Toni Morrison, is one that I had for a class in school. And another that ended up in here was Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria? I did not read that for school, but that is a great intellectual book. And so I list different books in these categories. If you need suggestions for readings by Black women, they're in here. And you can also make your star rating if you read them in here. So this, again, is one of the things that sells at pretty much every market. And I've had this in every single size that I offer, and people love it and they buy it. And I'm very proud of this because making that list, I actually used books that either I read in college, I've read since college. I really admire those authors. I looked for different listings of books by Black women. People that I follow online who read in some of the genres that I don't read as much in. I took their suggestions. So this has a lot of cultivation behind it. I didn't just like randomly throw some titles together, just do a best of list and just put everything that was on there. No, these are curated. A lot of these I've read myself, and the rest I'm working through. And so this is one of my biggest wins. Just making the journals in the first place is a really big win for me. It took me a long time to figure out how to do it in a way that was accessible for me. I am not a creative, crafty person in the sense of creating physical things. I am definitely a writer first and foremost. And so bringing some of these ideas to life as tangible products and making those products myself is a really, really big win. And so I have been enjoying doing that. Um, my ideal customer or viewer, people who really love reading, who are passionate about literacy, which is people being able to read and write and think critically about reading and writing. People interested in legacy or being more analog, people who would like to go to pen and paper for journaling their feelings and um, keeping their personal reflections or family things like recipes or traditions or any of that, that they can have a tangible one in their hands. Those are really the people who would be interested in what I create as far as a business. Readers definitely would be interested in my comment because I talk about books that I'm reading as well as books that I can't wait to read and those sorts of things. So those will be people who are interested in what I do and what I offer is readers, writers, people who are interested in literacy and legacy and archiving that legacy, and people who want to be a bit more analog with their personal reflections and opinions and information. How long have I been in business? Tricky question. I actually opened my first business, which was very similar to By Herself, in 2014. So I self published a book in 2014. It's called Altered Before the Altar, Allowing God to Make You Meet to Be Met. And it was my first book. It was nonfiction. It was heavily researched. I interviewed over a dozen married couples who had been married for, I think the shortest marriage was somewhere between 2 to 5 years for just one, but most of them were well upwards of 10 years, all the way up to like 40. And I did a lot of Bible study, a lot of interviews, hours and hours of interviews that I went back through. And it took me 40 years to write that book. And I started my company at that time, which was Serious Season Press, for the purpose of something for the ISBNs to be bought under. For that, I knew I was going to write more books. And so I incorporated. And I wrote a few more books and I offered formatting. So I helped people format their books. I offered editing. I offered like whole book work where I would like cultivate relationships with cover designers and different people and coordinate the whole process for an author, including finding them a professional beta reader and things like that. And in 2018, I came up with By Herself, and it was just the blog. I hadn't done anything with my company in a little bit. And in 2019, I officially bought or paid for to be a limited liability company. Sorry, I have breakfast here that my husband made, and it smells really good. So, long story short, October 2019, is when By Herself started. But I've had a bookish business since 2014. What's my business origin story, inspiration, how I got started? Sorry. So, inspiration, I've been a writer all my life. I wanted to publish. In 2014, when I published my first book, I was 29 years old. And so I wanted to do this before I turned 30. I wanted to have a published book. And I gotten kind of close, but hadn't gotten really any traction with writing. And shortly after, like 2015 ish, I started getting a couple of full requests and stuff for fiction. But I didn't want to wait until somebody gave me a yes. I created my own yes. And that's why I started my original company. The reason I started By Herself, restarted, is because I wanted a slightly different focus, not just on what I was writing, but on reading and the love of reading. And I just saw how reading, literacy, comprehension was definitely going downhill. I saw it firsthand shortly thereafter because I started teaching during the pandemic in 2020. But I could see that there was definitely a disconnect in literacy. Some people can read words on a page and not comprehend them. Some people, you can say the words to them, like read it to them, and they can understand what's going on. But the vast majority of the students that I encountered could do neither, um, specifically in who were categorized in some of the lower categories. And reading and love of reading has always been something that's been a part of my life. And I just assumed a lot of people loved it. And all of the social media and stuff, the algorithms always showed me people who did. So I didn't realize that there was such an issue. And so that was part of why I ended up starting my business, is to talk about literacy and the legacy piece, being able to write your thoughts down in journal. I've been journaling since I was second grade, first grade. I officially got a very nice journal in third grade from a teacher. It was a gift for the end of the school year. And that's when my obsession with pretty journals started. And being able to create my own has kind of been a bit of a problem. I have so many of my own that I'm like, I want to keep that one for myself. But that's kind of where the business started. And I go into more detail and different things in that video that is locked in my phone. But hopefully, I will be able to clear some space and get that video out as well. The biggest pushback or criticism of my business. I haven't had a lot of quote unquote pushback. I've done more in person selling than online. And one of the main things that I hear at markets so much is that people are like, oh, your stuff is beautiful, but I don't read, which is really a sad one to hear. People are like, I don't read, or I don't write, I don't keep a journal, or oh, I keep my journal digitally, or well, my friend reads, but I don't read. So I don't get a lot of sales because people either don't read, don't track their reading, don't keep a journal, or don't keep one physically. I currently don't have the machines and things to make like magnetic bookmarks, or I don't make things for like different Kindles or things like that. So I don't have those type of products that people might buy. Um, I don't really get a lot of criticism as far as like my actual products yet, but I haven't like sold a crazy amount where people would be like, "Oh yeah, that's." I don't get a lot of comments on my prices either, that they're like too expensive, which probably means they're probably low for what they are. So the biggest pushbacks and criticisms of my business is mostly that people don't read or don't write or don't keep physical journals. Um, and every now and then, like people are like, oh, you're still like writing on paper, like that's bad for the environment or whatever. But I haven't really gotten a lot of criticism. And I actually, like, if I misprint something in the larger size, that's kind of why I came up with this smaller notebook. And I use those pages, I just cut them down so that there's less waste. So I still use most of my cast offs. Um, but so far, that's the biggest critique. People who like don't like reading. um, what content can people will people find on my channel? So content that I would offer would be day in the lives. I show how I make my journals, hopefully packing videos if I have online orders. I want to do book roundups, like these are the books I read this month. This is what I'm looking forward to reading. Books for, if you're wanting to whatever. Maybe even some of my podcast episodes, if guests will agree to the video. I usually use video for my podcast interviews, but I let guests know, like, if they don't want me to post video, I don't. I hadn't been using it at all. It was just for me to be able to see their face and for us to actually have a face to face conversation. But if guests would like to, I would definitely put those videos on this channel as well, because it is by herself, and that's the podcast, and that's kind of what everything is geared towards, talking about how books make us who we are. And dream collaborate. What would be your dream collaborator project? Oh, there are so many different authors that I'd want to talk to, and different people that I'd want to uh, do things with as far as the podcast. As far as like for my actual like products and stuff, dream collaborators, there's a few people that I would love to work with, like to create journals based on like a book that they have, um, and different things like that. And I would love to work with like, of course, your mind goes blank when you're live trying to think of these things. But I have whole lists of creators that I would love to work with. One being Lovey Ajayi Jones. I've read her books and like her. Um, there's a lot of them. And specifically, I would love to create some high end, lovely journals for some of the things that I like the most. So, like an ultimate like reading journal, um, with kind of my signature style and somebody else input that's in the book space. Anne Bogle, I'd love to do anything with her. Um, kind of people. I have to get back on with my accountability group. So I am going to end this live here, but give you a little bit of information about me and will tide you over until I can get a real like video out there. So Thanks for watching. If you watch this later, I'd love to know your thoughts, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Bye.